Juggler for the traveling show, and I can work with anything you wish to throw at me. I don't care what it is. Flaming torches, loaded rifles, 7 bowling pins at one time while riding on a unicycle, reciting nursery rhymes in 3 mezcal bottles while drinking them down to the bottom. Burning Roman candles going off in my hands while I'm juggling. I perform the private chambers of kings and queens and presidents, and on the streets of New York City for the change in your pockets. Mama says my grandfather was a famous juggler back in Poland. From the rich man to the pauper, everybody knew him. All he had was his father's suitcase. When he arrived on Ellis Island, it held 3 old daggers, a suit of clothes, and a Polish Bible. But I'm told he was a drunkard. I was born into the carnival. Mama was a dancer. For my 10th birthday she gave me grandfather's old daggers. I learned the trade with them. Just look at these scars on my hands and fingers. Mama died when I was 21. We buried her in New Mexico. You must understand there's no graveyard for carnival folk. Got drunk as a bastard, cursed God's name in grief and anger. The next night I lost my index finger to the dagger. Sounds like an accordion, the sky's a piece of faded canvas. The stars are kerosene lanterns swinging from the rafters. I'm a juggler, the traveling show. It is my family, a straw padded on the floors. My bed, my home's the highway.
Live at Gilmore Guitars, Brock Zeman, Blair Hogan. Welcome, guys. Podcast number 49. Wow, can you believe it's already 49?
Yeah, we've done a couple of
And I think this is probably the 4th or 5th show that you have come into the shop to do.
Second one with the cameras.
First one in the new shop.
Yeah, it looks good in here.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So, The Juggler, that's the song that you just did. Mm-hmm. And the new record is called The Carnival's Back in Town. And you've been working on this idea for a long time, probably since we first met. You know,
yeah.
You every time you're always talking about, I want to put this record together. So you finally got it out. How did you make it happen?
Well, I've been talking about this idea for a long time and not actually working on it is the problem.
Right.
And I think these songs are close to 10 years old.
All of them? Did you write new music for this
record?
record?
It all, and then it just kind of sat there for a while. We tried to record it one other time, which was
5 years ago.
5 years ago, and like recorded it. We did almost everything that the record has on it, and then scrapped it all.
Why?
It just didn't sound the way it sounded in my head. I keep going back to if it doesn't sound right, it's got to be done again.
Okay, so did you record any of these songs on any other records as well?
No, they all go together. They're
all kind of a one piece of art then.
Yeah.
So what made you want to write a record about the carnival?
Well, it started, I was watching something on TV, and there was a carnival barker. Mm-hmm. And he was screaming at this crowd, like, come on, the whole spiel, we've got this, we've got that, and the 10 and 1, and just, it was really entertaining. He had really colorful, way of speaking, and obviously this guy's a bit of a grifter to begin with,
Right.
and that's the kind of feel you get off those folks.
Snake oil salesman.
Right, and so that interested me, and I actually wrote a song that night called Come One, Come All,
Okay.
where I am that guy trying to get people into the carnival, and I'm naming off names of acts they're going to see in the carnival, and then the next day I just woke up and started writing songs about the people I named off. And then by the time I had 4, I was thinking maybe I could make a whole record.
There's a record in here.
Yeah.
So, and it took you 10 years to compile enough songs to do it. Did you
Probably took me about 8 months, and then it took me 10 years to
put it together?
actually record.
Oh, okay.
They were 100% written 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I recognize a lot of the songs. You've done a lot of these songs live over the years.
Yep.
That's very cool.
It's a little ridiculous. Like, we've been playing some of these songs for 10 years, and the record hasn't come out. It's I don't know what we were thinking.
All right. Note to everybody listening: go out and buy this record.
Yes.
It's a great record. I will admit, it took me 2-3 listens all the way through to get there. But once I got there, I went, "Oh, this is really good."
Yeah,
this
it's
is really,
it's
really
one of my
good.
favorite things that's come out of my studio, anyways, because it's the only thing that's completely acoustic.
Okay.
You know, there's no electrical instruments on it, and we didn't use synthesizers or little,
Yeah.
plugins or whatever. It was just straight up the way people played, and it was really nice to do a record like that. I'm not sure if I ever want to do one again, but
So the songs are recorded live off of the floor then?
No.
Or you
yeah.
did stack? and-
yeah, we stack.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sound on it, but just typically for us, we would use a lot of keyboards, a lot of background noise comes electronically, and this is none of that. It's all, anything you hear is strings, accordion. There was a fair amount of hiring out of people which
Okay.
doesn't always happen for
Yeah.
us. So,
Well, usually we can just go, we want this on the record. Blair can play it.
Right.
And Blair plays it.
Right.
It's usually how it works. But this time, he didn't
And how
hone in
nice
on
it-
his accordion skills.
And how nice is it for a singer, songwriter, producer, engineer to have a guy like Blair
Oh, it's amazing.
as your right hand?
It's like having a computer that knows everything. You can, when something's
That's
off,
recorded, right?
Yeah.
you can just have someone else's opinion that definitely knows more about music than I do. I know very little about music.
Right.
I know what I want to hear, and that's what I go for.
Right.
And sometimes the what I want to hear rubs up against other things in the song, and so it's nice to either hear why that is and go forth with that information,
Yeah.
or just have a different point of view that I can't speak music speak.
Okay.
It's not my thing. I've never been able to do it.
All right. Well, let's hear some more music. This is podcast number 49, live at Gilmore Guitars, Brock Zeman and Blair Hogan. What are we going to hear now? Something
Drop
off of...
your bucket down the well.
Awesome. This is a great song, too. Live at Gilmore Guitars, Brock Zeman, Blair Hogan.
2, 3, 4. Old man got a tin cup trying to hustle up some nickels and dimes. Said I'll tell your friend soon as I hit the brim, I'm gonna make it rain red wine. 100 little penny still makes a dollar, gets heavy but it spends still. Never heard of a man getting any water, getting out a cloud to bend to his will. You gotta drop your bucket down the well. Little spider spitting ton of wires all around my window pane. Wait all night till to feel that fly come and make it shake, shake, shake. Patience is the number one virtue, with persistence hot on his tail. All I know for gospel truth, you wanna get to heaven, you gotta walk through hell. And you gotta drop your bucket down the well. Well, everybody's looking for a rainbow. Everybody wants to get a little bit of gold. Everybody wants to get to paradise, but nobody wants to build the road. You gotta drive that camel through the needle, boy, take the devil by his tail. Money only answers to a heave and a moan. Don't lady luck love a hard-working man. Oh, oh, you gotta drop your bucket down the well. You gotta drop that bucket on down the well. You gotta drop that bucket.
Live at Gilmore Guitars, Brock Zeman, Blair, Hogan, podcast number 49. Love that song, and I love that record that it's on.
Oh, thank you.
Pulling the sword out of the devil's back.
That's right.
You know, the first time I heard that particular song, the title track, there's a line in there about dreams in the pillow, and I ain't in any of them. That just knocked me in the head. It was so good. I'm thinking, where does this guy come up with stuff like that? Because you are a wordsmith. You have just a way of turning a phrase.
Well, thank you.
It's really cool.
Well, that was pulling your sword out of the devil's back was probably the first time I felt that I was able to achieve what I wanted to with a record, and it was such a happy experience.
And this record you did in your studio as well, right?
Yeah.
And is that the first Brock Zeman record that you did all on your own there?
We've done a couple, and we got close, but nothing like this, you know. And this one also, we used Andre Wall to mix the record, who did a fantastic job. It was actually the first time I was able to send a record away to somebody and then have nothing to do with it until it came back.
Yeah.
And when it came back, it was pretty well done. And usually, I'm there, you know, nitpicking and stuff, and I found it so nice to be out of that.
Yeah.
And just have somebody almost tell you this is how it should sound at the end of the day, and not be a part of all those decisions.
Right. This record kind of opened a bunch of doors for you too, didn't it?
It got noticed more than any of the other ones as well.
Yeah.
We got some of the songs off it did well in songwriting competitions.
Yeah.
You know, it got great reviews across the board. And that was nice to hear after 10 years of doing this.
It's about time, right? And it opened a few doors in the States as well, right?
Well, yeah, like just from the press that we got, it gave us something to push into these people's hands. And it got... Basically, we went to Europe, got a booking agent, which is great. Just got a record label out of Europe, Continental Records. And we just got a booking agency in the U.S.
Okay.
And that's a big one for us. We've been floating around the U.S. for a couple
Green
years.
Room, right?
Green Room, Music Source, yeah.
And there's some pretty big hitter artists on with this agency as well.
I'm really excited about that, yeah.
So how is this going to work for you then?
I'm hoping it works out to us playing more in the U.S., more of the places we need to be in,
right?
And start working those clubs, and without me having to scan the internet and pull my hair out, what's remaining of it anyways, and try and get these gigs. It's really difficult to book in the U.S., I find, because there's a lot of people.
And that's an endeavor you've been working on for 10 years. Every year you try to do a tour down there, right?
Yeah, I've always seen it as one of the more important things that we should be doing. And, well, like when we went over to Europe this time, as soon as we got our feet on the ground and got a rental car, and it was like, we haven't been doing this for 8 years. You know, like 8 years, we knew we could probably do this, but didn't. And then when we got over there, it just worked out really well. The reception was great, so... But we were playing in, they've got a great music scene over there, you know? And
a lot of your cohorts in the Ottawa area go there a lot. Like Amanda Rayom I think she's there right now again.
Definitely.
Yeah, so are you...
well buy real estate there.
Yeah, she's there a lot. And there's a reason she keeps going back, right? So that's good. Let's talk a little bit more about your Europe trip and maybe some of the experiences you had. Let's get another song in.
Okay, we're going to try something new.
All right, excellent.
This will be on the next record, which...
And have you got an idea what it's going to be called?
Not yet.
No?
But we've got it demoed out. It should be out next year at some point.
Excellent. Yeah. Live at Gilmore Guitars, podcast number 49, Brock Zeman and Blair Hogan.
something like boom, chicka, boom, boom, boom. Then my mind just exploded. Little pieces of it went sprawling out across the room, then came back to you as if you called them. I'm jealous of every single little hair on your head for spending all them years rubbing up against your neck. When they fall into your eyes, you tie them back behind your head as if it's some kind of punishment. Oh, let me be your coffee. Let me be your cigarette. Let me be that thing you reach for before you realize you're reaching for it yet. I'll get you all itchy and twitchy and chewing your nails when you can't have any. Ooh, slice off a little piece of your day for me, baby, and let me be your coffee. It's just that you and your body, they go so well together, like they've known one another for 1,000,000 forevers now. My body and your body, that's something time could tell you, but time, it moves so slowly. Can we figure it out together? I never know just what I'm saying till the words are in the air, and when I try to rearrange them, they all float out of reach somewhere. Oh, I love the way you pretend you don't care. Oh, you know that just drives me crazy. Let me be your coffee. Let me be your cigarette. Let me be that thing you reach for before you realize you're reaching for it yet. I'll get you all itchy and twitchy and chewing your nails, and you can't have any. Oh, slice off a little piece of your day for me, baby, and let me be your coffee. Just let me be your coffee. Just let me be your...
Live at Gilmore Guitars, podcast number 49. That's Brock Zeman, Blair Hogan. That's a killer song.
Thank you.
That's a great song.
Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to recording that one.
Now, I can't wait for the next record. And you know, that always happens with you, right? Every time you do a record, it's going, oh, now what?
It's funny, you know, we've been playing the songs off new records, you know, for years before they've come out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird when you get it out, then you got to play it for, like, you know, another little while. Like Triple Crown was the best example of that, probably. We played that song for 6
You've been
years.
playing that song for a long time.
Yeah.
And you didn't put that on a record till Me Than You.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is still one of my favorite records.
And I don't mind playing the song, which is a plus.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah, there's lots of memorable songs on all of those records. You know.
That's what I like to think.
Yeah, that's cool. So, is this next record, going to be kind of in line with that song there, or are you going to have all kinds of different?
I think it's actually a little softer, to be honest, than a couple of the last records, I think.
Okay.
But I mean, we haven't really dug into it yet.
Okay.
But the material seems to be a little softer at this point. It has a couple quieter songs than most of the other records.
Okay. So, are you thinking some strings and?
There's one thing I want to include on this big. I'm in love with cello.
Right.
Like when we put that on Pulling Your Sword.
Yeah.
I was flabbergasted by the result, you know, to have the cello player on every single song, and even he was going, "Are you sure every single? Just figure it out, man. You can do it. You can do it." And I love it every time it's in there.
Yeah.
So my new one is baritone sax.
Oh,
Let's see if
okay.
I can get that going.
Cool.
Yeah, I just met a saxophone player for the Carnival record.
Yep.
Who lived right by me out in the woods, and his name's Wayne Mills, and he came over and just blew me away. And so we had him on another record that we were doing at the studio, a David Only record.
Yeah.
And once again, he killed it. So I asked him about the baritone, and he goes, "Yeah, we call those a borrow tone because no one can afford one." You know. So I'm gonna rent him one, and he's gonna try some parts out on it.
So are you busy recording other artists now and still?
Yeah, I always have something going on, and if I'm not recording for somebody else, I'm definitely working on my next record.
Right.
So right now we've got an awesome record that's almost done. It's David Only from Nashville. He's a well-respected songwriter. He's had Emmylou Harris has covered his songs, you know, and a list of other people. And yeah, you can go on his website and hear like favorable quotes from Townes Van Zandt about David Only. You know? So he came out to my place. He's 68 years old.
Yeah.
And just, it was so fun to record this man. And then he went back to Nashville, and Hoagie and I and a list of others finished off the record for him. We just sent in the last mix last night.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Good for you. Awesome. Congratulations. So talk to me a little bit about Europe. Where did you go? And
we were in the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Switzerland, Germany. It was a blast.
So did you have it all put together before you got there, or was that one of those things you kind of had to put together as you went?
No. Europe works in a way like no other. You need a year in advance, and there's a lot of different variables that make it different for us. You know, like you got to fly there, you got to rent a car. There's different rules everywhere. What I was happy about, I was most nervous about borders and stuff, but you don't really. All of a sudden, you're in Germany, and
you were in Belgium 2 minutes before, you know? You didn't even know you entered a new country.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was really fun to tour around, and we had not really any trouble with language or anything.
No. It was great everywhere, and they just love music there. I mean, we even what you'd call a bad gig here was not by any means a bad gig there. You know, there was always people there, even if it was 15 or 20. They were rabid for music, you know, in a way that
they're there and they're into it.
Crisscrossing this country, we had almost forgotten existed. You know, it's
right.
I hate to say that, but I mean, you know, it's undeniably different. You know, it's like, you know, art and culture has been just a more prevalent part of the average person's life, you know, than it is here, I guess.
Right.
And you know, that counts for something when you see who's coming to these shows.
So plans to do another tour over there?
Oh yeah, we got an agent working on May for next year.
Okay, so how long can you go at a time on something like that?
You'd have to ask Amanda. I think she's been over there for like 2 months at a time. But
yeah, she did,
you know, 7
weeks.
Yeah, so
2 weeks would be like the most comfortable amount to kind of get enough that you need in. You know, I would think, but you can. There's no drives. You know, everything's 4 hours from everything else, and you're talking like 2 countries away is 4 or 6 hours or something.
So on the unsavory subject of money, is it worth your while to make the trip over there to do these tours?
Yeah, definitely. And plus, if you can bring that money back home, it's worth more. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
You know, like Hoagie and I, whenever we get back from the States or Europe or something, you know, I'm always checking the exchange rates. Today, do it today, man. And so that's a little added plus too, you know.
Excellent. All right, let's get one last song in here before we get going.
Okay. This one is called Stitch, and it's off the Carney record, and it's about the fellow who runs the whole carnival.
Excellent. Live at Gilmore Guitars, podcast number 49. It's Brock Zeman and it's Blair Hogan.
My friends call me Stitch. I'm that dirty fingernail that always gets the itch. I make my living picking up what you throw away, from misfits to outlaws and putting them up on stage. Well, you can call me what you want, but a thief I'm not. I believe every soul deserves to make a living with whatever they got. I'll be the first to admit it, where I once saw dollar signs. Now all I can see are some friends of mine, and I think that beauty hides behind a pair of eyes. skin, sewing into your soul. I met Billy the Savage out in Tennessee. Might not look like much to you, but stick a banjo on his knee. Lucille and Sue Lynn, the two Siamese twins, singing in a subway in Chicago. Swing low, sweet chariot. Get a boy was selling papers. Little Mac selling dope out in New York City. Living on Skid Row. I met my wife in Amarillo. They called her Fat Betsy Ann. Well, she's a big old woman, but I got big old hands. I think that beauty hides behind a pair of eyes. It ain't built no factory, ain't made of flesh and bone. It don't get wrinkled, it don't fade in time. It lies beneath your skin, sewing into your soul. That's right. Don't mind a crooked old tree, sunlight shines on them both. The flowers in the weeds, the morning dew settles on. The rose and the thorn, I guess beautiful and ugly, grow out of the same soil. The devil wears a tuxedo, got a big shiny smile, while God goes around in rags looking like you and I. When you've heard beggars sing like angels out on the streets, you know beauty hides in the places you expect to find it the least. And I think that beauty hides behind a pair of eyes. It ain't built no factory, ain't made of flesh and bone. It don't get wrinkled, it don't fade in time. It lies beneath your skin, sewing into your soul. It lies beneath your skin, sewing into your soul.
Live at Gilmore Guitars, podcast number 49, Brock Zeman and Blair Hogan. Let's just bolt off here where people can get your records, where they can contact you, and all that sort of good stuff so we can sell some of these Brock Zeman records.
Yeah. Well, brockzeman.com will send you in the right direction for all those things. And Busted Flat Records out of Kitchener. They got a great website with all the store up there, iTunes, CD Baby, all over the place.
And the rest of the tour. Where to from here? Jean's Joint in Red Deer tonight?
Jean's Joint, yeah, and then we're playing the club in Regina, a couple house concerts, one in Manitoba, one in Northern Ontario, and our little Wabagoon General Store gig, and then we're just driving all the way home.
Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to come back to Gilmore Guitars.
Thank you for having us.
Cheers. Podcast number 49. It's in the can.